Namaskar, welcome to PK's classes. Today we are going to study about the adrenergic receptors. So adrenergic receptor, the name comes from adrenaline. So adrenaline acts on the receptors and the receptors are called as adrenergic receptors. So adrenaline and there is another one noradrenaline, both act on some receptors and those receptors are called as adrenergic receptors. So adrenaline is a neurotransmitter and adrenaline is also a hormone, and the sympathetic nervous system, that is the thoracolumbar outflow, the sympathetic nervous system. We know autonomic nervous system is of two types, sympathetic and parasympathetic, and in the sympathetic nervous system, which is the thoracolumbar outflow, say the brain, brainstem, cerebellum and the spinal cord. In the spinal cord, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral and coccygeal. So this is cervical, then thoracic, then lumbar, then sacral and finally coccygeal. So there are 12 pairs of thoracic nerves, 8 pairs of cervical, 5 pairs of lumbar, 5 pairs of sacral, 1 pair of coccygeal. So this thoracic, the neuron from spinal cord goes to the ganglia. From ganglia it goes to different parts. So this is the cell body, then axon and then finally axon terminal. So the group of cell bodies outside CNS, we know this is ganglion. So this is the preganglionic nerve fiber and this is the postganglionic nerve fiber. And this postganglionic nerve fiber is innervated to a certain tissue which is a group of cells. So this is the target tissue, and the neurotransmitter released here is adrenaline, noradrenaline, and they act on the receptors present on the cells of the target tissue, and these receptors on the surface of the cells are called adrenergic receptors. And adrenaline is also a hormone released from the adrenal gland. So adrenal gland, which is just above the kidneys, and adrenal gland secretes the hormone adrenaline, which enters into the blood circulation and goes to the target tissues where it can bind to the target receptors called as adrenergic receptors. So this is all about your adrenergic receptor. So you can note it down as your notes. So adrenergic receptors are specialized proteins located on the surface of cells that are involved in mediating the effects of the neurotransmitters norepinephrine or noradrenaline and epinephrine or adrenaline, which are part of the body's sympathetic nervous system or adrenergic nervous system. These receptors play a crucial role in regulating various physiological processes including heart rate, blood pressure, metabolism and the body's response to stress. So there are two main types of adrenergic receptors, and So the adrenergic receptors, they are basically G protein coupled receptors, and there are two types of adrenergic receptors, alpha and beta. Again, alpha is of two types, alpha 1 and alpha 2. Beta is of three types, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. So all these receptors are G protein coupled receptor, and among them alpha 1 belongs to the GQ type G protein coupled receptor, alpha 2 belongs to the GI type G protein coupled receptor, and the rest, all the beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3 belong to GS type G protein coupled receptor. So in this GQ, the effector is phospholipase C. In GI, the effector is adenine cyclase, and in the GS also the effector is adenine cyclase. So the second messenger produced when the alpha GTP binds to the target enzyme like phospholipase C or adenine cyclase, the second messenger here is IP3, here cyclic AMP, which is decreased because it is inhibitory, and in here also this is cyclic AMP. So this is all about the two type of adrenergic receptors and their molecular mechanism and the type of G protein coupled receptor. So let us see first alpha 1 adrenergic receptor. It is coupled to GQ, so G protein Q, and there is activation of phospholipase C, which leads to production of IP3, inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol, and this inositol triphosphate is responsible for raising the calcium levels, leading to smooth muscle contraction and mostly vasoconstriction, because these receptors are mainly located in the smooth muscles of blood vessels. So vasoconstriction can increase the peripheral resistance, and as we know, the blood pressure is equal to cardiac output into peripheral resistance. Vasoconstriction increases the peripheral resistance, hence blood pressure increases. So these drugs, alpha 1 blockers, can be used as antihypertensives. They also influence other smooth muscles, mainly the radial smooth muscles of iris in eye. So you can see, suppose this is the iris and inside this is pupil, and these are say radial muscles of iris. So alpha 1 receptor is located on the radial muscles, and when there is adrenergic innervation, so here adrenaline is released, noradrenaline is released, which acts on the alpha 1 receptors here, which causes the contraction of the radial smooth muscle, and because of the contraction of the radial smooth muscles, there will be increase in the pupil size, and increase in pupil size is called as mydriasis. So this is another example where alpha 1 receptors have a role. Then let us come to the alpha 2 adrenergic receptors, and the G protein coupled is GI. So there is inhibition, GI inhibitory, I for inhibitory, so inhibits adenylate cyclase. So there is decrease in cyclic AMP decreases. So this leads to inhibition of neurotransmitter release, because this is located mostly presynaptically. So the nerve ending of adrenergic neurons from which adrenaline is released. So there is the synaptic vesicle, and from here adrenaline is released on exocytosis, and this can act on the alpha 2 receptors, which is located presynaptically, and this is postsynapse, and this is presynapse or presynaptic. So adrenaline when acts on these, so alpha 2 being a GI group of G protein coupled receptor, inhibits adenylate cyclase, okay, and so there will be decrease in cyclic AMP, and decrease in cyclic AMP leads to decrease in calcium, and hence the calcium required for exocytosis, that will be inhibited, okay, and so there will be no release of the neurotransmitters. So alpha 2 receptor agonists inhibit the neurotransmitter release because it is located presynaptically. So mostly they are presynaptically located, from the same neuron from which the adrenergic neurotransmitters like adrenaline and noradrenaline are released. And however, they are also present postsynaptically in various tissues, but their major action is presynaptic. So located on presynaptic nerve terminus, where we call them as autoreceptors, and these alpha 2 receptors are also located in some other neurons, and when they are located in some other neurons like serotonergic neurons, we call them as heteroreceptors. So heteroreceptor, when suppose this is a serotonergic neuron, that means from this 5-HT is released, but here also the alpha 2 receptor is there, that means this is located in other nerves or neurons, so it is called a heteroreceptor. When it is located in the same adrenergic neuron, this is called autoreceptor. This presynaptic receptor is called autoreceptor, and when it is located in some other neurons like serotonergic neurons which release 5-HT, then it is called heteroreceptor. So these receptors are important in controlling the balance of neurotransmitter release and can help decrease blood pressure and heart rate. Alpha 2 agonists like clonidine we can use, then alpha 2 agonist like clonidine can be used to reduce the blood pressure because they inhibit the release of the neurotransmitter adrenaline and noradrenaline. Then the beta 1 adrenergic receptors, it is a GS type G protein. So activation leads to the activation of adenylate cyclase enzyme, which increases the intracellular levels of cyclic AMP. So that has many effects: increases heart rate, positive chronotropic effect; increases force of contraction, that is positive inotropic effect; increased renin release from the kidney. So on heart it has action, and on kidney it has action by increasing renin release. Beta 1 receptors. So location predominantly in heart, kidney, and also in adipose tissue. And we can say that they are primarily involved in the body's response to stress and exercise, and when it increases the heart rate and also increases the force of contraction increases means it increases the stroke volume, and we know that heart rate into stroke volume is equal to cardiac output. So cardiac output increases when beta 1 receptors are stimulated. So beta 1 blockers we can use. Beta 1 blockers like atenolol, metoprolol, they can be used as antihypertensive. And beta 1 agonists, antihypertensive, and beta 1 blockers, beta 1 agonist like dobutamine, that can be used in case of hypotension. They can be hypotension treatment. And beta blockers can be used as for hypertension treatment. Then beta 2 adrenergic receptors, they are also GS type G protein coupled receptors, and they also activate the adenylate cyclase and increase the cyclic AMP levels, and here they produce the smooth muscle relaxation. And in case of here beta 1, this is heart cardiac muscle contraction, whereas beta 2 is located in smooth muscles and causes smooth muscle relaxation, mostly in bronchioles and blood vessels supplied to skeletal muscle. In other areas, alpha 1 receptor is located where smooth muscle contraction occurs, and blood vessels supplied to skeletal muscle, they are producing smooth muscle relaxation and hence vasodilatation. And also in liver, they cause glycogenolysis, glycogen breakdown occurs. So they are located mainly in smooth muscles, in the blood vessels, lungs, and also they are located in the liver, skeletal muscles, and the blood vessels supplied to skeletal muscles. So they are mainly mediating bronchodilation and vasodilatation. And they are also located in uterus, and uterine relaxation is its function. Beta 2 agonist can produce uterine relaxation. Then finally beta 3 adrenergic receptor, this is a GS type G protein coupled receptor. Activation of beta 3 receptor increases cyclic AMP by activating adenylate cyclase enzyme, and is involved in lipolysis, the fat breakdown in adipose tissue. And the other function is thermogenesis in brown adipose tissue. So location primarily in adipose tissue, and also it is located in the urinary bladder. And two functions mainly, lipolysis and thermogenesis or heat production. So this is all about the adrenergic receptors, and their pharmacological relevance already have discussed. The agonists can stimulate adrenergic receptors, and they can have different functions. Say beta 2 agonists, they cause bronchodilation and can be used in asthma. And beta 1 agonists can stimulate the heart. And among the antagonists, the alpha blockers and beta blockers, alpha 1 blockers and beta 1 blockers. Alpha 1 blockers by producing vasodilatation decrease the peripheral resistance and can decrease the blood pressure. And beta 1 blockers decrease the cardiac output, decrease the heart rate, decrease the stroke volume, and hence decrease the cardiac output. So these two type of drugs can be used in hypertension, and beta blockers can also be used in arrhythmias, anxiety, by reducing the effect of sympathetic stimulation. So this is all about the adrenergic receptors. Thank you.